The screaming figure. At the heart of the composition, the anguished figure commands immediate and unrelenting attention. The mouth, stretched wide in a visceral cry, becomes the axis around which the entire painting revolves. Shadows and creases carve deep valleys into the face, emphasizing the agony that is as much psychological as it is physical. Each furrow and hollow suggests an inner torment, a suffering that radiates far beyond the boundaries of the canvas. The eyes, often blurred or obscured, deny the viewer any sense of connection or comfort, redirecting focus to the gaping, soundless mouth. Cloaked and isolated, the figure appears less like a portrait and more like an embodiment of collective anxiety, its scream frozen in perpetual crisis. All vestiges of conventional dignity have been stripped away, replaced by a raw, unfiltered confrontation with anguish. The painting thus acts as a mirror, compelling the viewer to reckon with the depths of emotional intensity beneath the surface. The cloak of agony. The figure is enveloped in a heavy, dark cloak that swallows its form, amplifying the sense of confinement and psychological weight. This garment, rendered with thick, shadowed folds, functions simultaneously as a shield and a prison. The thick fabric clings to the body, its weight palpable, constraining rather than comforting. Within its darkness, the figure is protected from the outside gaze, yet just as palpable, it is isolated and immobilized. The detailed rendering of the cloak's textures, its coarse edges and inky shadows, underscores the inescapability of the figure's torment. This visual decision transforms the papal robe from a symbol of authority and ceremonial grandeur into a metaphor for burden and suffering. Instead of the luxurious draperies seen in religious portraiture, the cloak here becomes an oppressive second skin, signaling the psychic cost of internalized agony and the suffocating pressure of expectation. The golden cage. Framing the tormented figure is a luminous geometric structure, a golden cage that dominates the background. The cage, composed of sharp angular lines, forms a diamond or rectangular outline that precisely encases the head and shoulders. Its radiant hue contrasts uncomfortably with the figure's darkness, evoking both the preciousness and the peril of its enclosure. This framework is not merely decorative, it acts as a visual and psychological barrier, severing the figure from the world beyond. The cage's rigid geometry interrupts the organic chaos of the scream and the swirling cloak, creating a tension between order and disorder, control and collapse. The visual symbolism here is unmistakable. The golden cage speaks to the constraints of religious authority, the isolation of power, and the internal prisons forged by personal horror. Its glow is ambivalent. It both exalts and imprisons, delivering a paradoxical message about the cost of sanctity and the loneliness of suffering. Velázquez's influence and transformation. A direct dialogue is established with Diego Velázquez's celebrated portrait of Pope Innocent X. Bacon's painting is a deliberate act of homage and violence, referencing the old master's composition while systematically dismantling its essence. Where Velázquez's Pope radiates authority, serenity, and velvet dignity, Bacon's interpretation erupts into chaos, distortion, and existential terror. The facial features are blurred and stretched, the mouth contorted into an unending scream. The transformation is surgical. Every detail that once spoke of stability and confidence is subverted to convey instability and dread. This act of artistic cannibalism is not mere irreverence. It is a critique of institutional power, exposing the underlying fragility and horror masked by the surface of ceremonial portraiture. The result is a powerful confrontation between reverence and repulsion, where sacred imagery is recast as a tableau of psychological collapse and violent rejection. The vertical lines of oppression. Behind the figure and its golden cage, a backdrop of vertical stripes marches across the canvas in unwavering rhythm. These golden lines, precise and unbroken, read as the bars of an invisible prison, repetitive, unyielding, and inescapable. Their formal regularity contrasts sharply with the turbulent emotion of the central figure, reinforcing the sense that suffering occurs within an environment of relentless, systematic pressure. The stripes create a spatial illusion of enclosure, narrowing the viewer's focus and compressing the pictorial space. This oppressive architecture echoes the hierarchical structures of church and society, suggesting a broader critique of authoritarian order. The psychological impact is acute. The scream is not merely the product of internal anguish, but is intensified by external structures that confine and define the self. Through these lines, the painting embeds the personal within the institutional, making the figure's agony both intimate and universal. Most arresting of all is the figure's mouth, rendered not as a simple anatomical feature, but as a vast and cavernous void. This shadowy maw, darker than the surrounding hues, dominates the face and acts as a visual vortex. The open mouth becomes a symbol of endless, inarticulate screaming, a soundless howl that seems to echo beyond the frame. It is a space of annihilation rather than communication, consuming identity and language alike. The contrast between the mouth's darkness and the surrounding golden light heightens this sense of abyssal horror. The viewer is drawn inexorably toward its depths, compelled to confront the abyss of suffering that it represents. In this way, the painting channels the existential dread that haunted the mid-20th century, capturing the terror of a world in which religious solace has collapsed, and only the endless scream remains. The wrinkled face of human frailty. Close scrutiny of the face reveals a map of wrinkles, lines, and shadows, each detail articulating vulnerability and mortality. Unlike the idealized visages of religious portraiture, this face is unflinchingly real, marked by the passage of time and the weight of experience. The sagging skin and sunken cheeks evoke exhaustion and despair, rendering the figure unmistakably human. The artist's brushwork accentuates the rawness of flesh and the fragility of life, making the scream not only a protest against authority, but also a lament for the self. These facial details are not incidental. They are crucial to the painting's power, grounding its existential horror in the realities of aging and decline. The result is a portrait of suffering that is both personal and universal, a testament to human frailty in the face of overwhelming power and existential uncertainty. Existential horror and religious rejection. The composition's cumulative effect is a searing meditation on existential horror and the violent rejection of religious authority. Every element, the anguished scream, the oppressive cloak, the golden cage, the relentless stripes, coalesces to transform a symbol of divine authority into a claustrophobic image of human terror. The painting does not merely invert religious iconography, it interrogates it, exposing the psychological and spiritual costs of institutional power. The result is a work that challenges viewers to confront discomfort, to grapple with suffering and isolation, to question the very foundations of belief and authority. As a statement on mid-century human experience, the painting endures as a legacy of rebellion, psychological depth, and masterful craft, reminding us that beneath every image of power lies the potential for profound human agony and existential doubt.